Hello, and welcome to another episode. This time we're talking about Ara-Kara. Ara-Kara is widely regarded as the easiest dungeon, I think, even easier than Mists. The higher you go in key levels, the more harder Mists becomes, and the easier Ara-Kara becomes, because Ara-Kara is a lot about having dispels, and since you can remove all of them, or most of them at least, with an Evoker or a Shaman and a Prot Paladin, this key just kind of becomes trivial in the end. It's still dangerous. And as you can see, I start here by clearing the M0 section of this dungeon to get this one tailoring item. It's not important, you can do this without this key level without getting this tailoring item, but this allows me to stun the next mini boss for 10 seconds. And as you can see here at the top right, it lasts a minute, so I don't have an eternal amount of time. This walk to the first mini boss is actually kind of dangerous because not only are there a lot of mobs jumping around, but I've also seen like people die to aggro here, so I just pop a rapture and immediately go to town. And then you just kind of nuke it. Yeah. If all goes right, this pull dies very quickly. There's still a few crawlers who apply poisons, and you kind of have to, I don't know, balance doing max DPS and also healing those people or the other people, like removing the poisons, which of course they don't want to spend globals for. I was actually debating whether to upload this run at all because this was another one shot similarly to the Dawnbreaker 18. We fished for this key at the beginning of this reset, so we had like 3 or 4 of these, but we ended up only needing 1. However, the price for that is that this is actually the worst timer for this key. Because we didn't play this perfectly, and I'm actually also not really happy with how I played this. I think this could be cleaner. But I think it's also important to talk about the runs that are not clean, so you can do it better, right? My color coding is also a bit weird here. I think I should maybe do the flyers at different colors than the crawlers. Well, at least I see the attendant well. Not a lot to talk about here. The section revolves around having CDs up for this mini boss, for this next one. And I think I'm asking at this point if I have time to go back to get the next tailoring item, because we want to stun this mob with the tailoring item. But of course, for that to work, they need to be able to handle the poisons on their own without me healing them, which thankfully they can, since it's like 3 people that can remove poisons, right? So I go back here, leave them another defensive penance first. Careful not to trigger the egg. And then I just get the item. Defensive penance for the movement speed. And this is a bit, yeah, I'm gonna pause here for a second. This is a bit awkward because, as you can see, we pulled the flyers, and I don't want to use Mindbender like before we pull it, right? I want to have Mindbender up lining with the PI that I will give to the Shaman. So I'm like spamming Flash Heal and Shields, trying to like heal the random damage off. I'm not sure if this is really a good pull, but apparently that's how you play it, right? Ideally, the Shaman has a G up here, so he handles this random damage. I don't know. And this is also where we almost throw away the key immediately, because Yeah. Oh, I don't like seeing that. He, thankfully, I didn't even have time to PI him because I was trying to press barrier, and then we also had this communication error whether we press barrier or AMZ, and then we ended up doing neither, and the shaman died for it. So he died in his CDs, but at least he gets PI. This is very bad. Yeah, and I used it. Oh, yeah, I used the tailoring item here mid cast. I'm not sure if that's the right moment to press it. I think if you press it when he gets the first tick through, it's even better. But he insta chains it, and we save it by pressing Healthstone, Healthpod. That was very well played by all of us. We get the thing, and we just use everything we have to survive it. If we died there, the ski would have been over. We would not have had the time at the end. So this is messy. I'm not sure when the right moment to use the tailoring item is exactly, and I don't know, obviously press your barrier rather early than too late. Not good. So that's like the first big mistake that I and the DK made in this key. This last mini boss thankfully is not very problematic. I pop Rapture here to assist with the debuff feelings. There's a lot of like dodging stuff, and not a lot happening here, I'm sorry. Popping a last Mindbender to assist with some damage. Don't worry, this I know you can see the damage right now, but I'll eventually realize that I still have it showing depths, and I think I'll change it. Oh yeah, and here we're talking about what we want to pull here. And I think we're adding something to the left, and then these flyers too. In my head, or are we? I'm not sure. Yeah, we are. And since these flyers do random damage, this is kind of dangerous. But I think we're immediately popping something here. I'm gonna pause on the AoE. Yeah, I pop barrier for it. And here. This is a very short AoE. As you can see, it lasts like 3 seconds. So if you want to do the whole double radiance thing, you don't have to. One is enough. But you do want to do it rather timely because you don't have much more time than timing the radiance, sending the reprimand, one smite, and the shadow of death or whatever. And no matter how hard you try, you cannot get Mindbender up for this next AoE that he does. So the way you want to handle it is you either get spatial paradox from the Evoker, so you at least can heal while dancing around with this. In this case, I do neither, or the shaman gets hit by a thing, and I pop Rapture after it, which is bad because I actually wanted to use Rapture for one of these things, but I was afraid that he gets hit by another ad. So I just popped it before. But as long as we have Mindbender up and time your Radiance into a Reprimand and a Void Blast, it's fine. So again, not the cleanest key, but because you also kind of have to balance like the ad damage with the boss damage here. And we actually do it wrong. You can focus the boss way earlier than we do here. That's also a big time loss here. You will always see me do this dance at the outside of this arena because I think it's borderline impossible to do this in melee. You will see a lot of disc priests at this key level do that. It just makes it much more safer. And again, I sent the Mind Blast already, and then I just try to do the dance correctly, but also do enough healing so that no one dies. I get the... Or do we even get it off? I'm not sure. If I got the Void Blast off here. But it's fine, like I just use the Shadow Fiend early, it lasts like 18 seconds anyway, and then I heal everybody up and pop my Radiance Reprimand again. And you also typically use AoE for this section, not for this dance section. Like the boss is like 40% here. And I've seen people ignore the ads from this point on already. So basically after the next AoE that he does. And I think we end up killing 2 more sets, so not good. We're not really practiced in this key, so we did it like once. As you can see, I'm like deathly afraid to fail this. So I played rather safe. So I'm not sure why we are doing this ad wave here. I think I'm calling at this point why are we doing it. That we should do it. That we should just root it. But and here I don't like. Oh, that this knock is terrible. By the way, almost went into the boss. So I'm like late on my Mind Blast because of that, because I'm like panicking. I don't really get any healing off, right? And then I even mistimed the Mind Blast. Oh, it's terrible. Sorry, Barrier. But at least because I have Barrier and I'm an Execute, I do enough healing anyways. But I'm standing here because I wanna root the mobs when they come out. I have it skilled just for that reason. Also, this is like the first time in all of the dungeons that my mana bar is actually kind of depleting. Because I'm... Yeah, I don't know. Like spamming a lot of shields and doing a lot of pre-atoning. Yeah. It's not the cleanest. Really not the cleanest first boss. But sometimes you have to roll with the punches, right? Here now you can see the overall at least. The mobs to watch here is not only the big beetle, but also the, I think, assistants. They do this strike called Extraction Strike, which absolutely fucks the tank. And it's very popular that they call for a PS here. This Bloodguard also does a AoE slam every half a minute. It doesn't do... Yeah, it's survivable, even if you don't like use the most FCDs. However, if you get like a random cast from another mob doing that, you might die, or probably will die. These bad bolts, yeah, very dangerous. Also, mob to watch here is the Sentry, who just keeps on casting this alarm shrill, so you want to continuously stop it. Which sounds really easy, but for DPS, I don't know. I've seen DPS just kind of forget about it, or you run out of stops eventually because you also want to stop the blood workers. We don't want to pull this mob here yet on the left, the blood guard. I do think we end up pulling it anyway. Yeah, I'm not sure. Ah, he pulled it. Okay. Just for a judgment on it. I bury this. This section is very easy, in my opinion. Apart from the tank dying, there's not a lot that can go wrong. And one thing you will find that, in my opinion at least, this dungeon gets progressively easier, which is sort of weird, because most dungeons are the opposite. Oh yeah, I'm mind soothing here. Another tailoring item. I'm actually not sure at this point. Oh yeah, the evoker dies here from the strike, because these assistants will always blood workers, no, not blood workers, assistants. They will always strike the first target that they get aggro with, and that doesn't always have to be the. I click it here for some reason. No. Oh yeah, I'm like checking. Yeah, what mob I can even use the tailoring item on, so I just use it on the assistant. Because that mob is at least hurting the tank, so it's useful to stun it. Not sure if that's the best choice though. I just did it. It heals them, that's why. Yeah. The strike they do on the tank, it also heals them. Here. Yeah, we see it. It's actually a lot of healing that they do. And again. So yeah, you can interrupt those. I could have feared there to stop it, but they will just recast it immediately, so it's not like it goes on CD then. But that's something you will see a lot here if you watch the assistants. They will get their cast will get stopped a lot. Hammer here already not looking great, honestly. Yeah. I've seen people be done with this next boss at 20 minutes. As you might know at this point, you can pull the boss from here by either the evoker rescues someone into the arena, and then that guy pulls the boss and the tank most of the time. And everybody else gets like teleported in, or they give you spatial and you pull with purge or something like. However, the first person that pulls the boss will get the debuff immediately. The big single target debuff that hurts a lot. So ideally the tank pulls it. A lot of people don't know how to handle this debuff, but it's similar to the Dawnbreaker debuffs. You see me hold my penance often here, or my reprimand rather, for these debuffs, and then I use another smite here, smite plus shield to cap it off. And if I don't have anything, I'll pop a rapture. or use my own dev CD, or I'll just try to have something always. You always get free debuffs. Here I will Flash Heal first, Reprimand. Yeah. I always try to have Mindbender ready for this section because you get like 3 debuffs in quick succession. And of course you will get Rapture up multiple times throughout this fight, at least twice. It's a little bit of an attrition fight in that sense, because here I'll give him Pain Stop because I know I have no healing. And now I have Mindbender up again and can just wait for the next. I get Spell Warded here, even though it would have been fine, I think. The Evoker is handling the baiting of the... Oh yeah, my shield has CD here and I have to dodge, so I cannot Flash Shield to reset the shield quickly, so he drops dangerously low there. Using Radiance to have the debuffs up already, debuffs, atonements up already, so... Like, if you're planning to defensive penance, you should have an atonement up, because defensive penance has a lot of healing, but so does having your atonement up, not only for the 3% DR, but also for the mastery buff. So either start the sequence with a flash heal or just by radiancing. This also gives you 2 more penance bolts. Yeah, here. Void Blast into Rapture Shield. By the way, if you're wondering why I only have 3 Rapture Shields, I did something experimental here and played with 2 points on borrowed time and contrition. Not really for contrition, but just for the pathing. So I don't have the middle point in Rapture, but again, totally experimental. Don't do this. It's just something I wanted to try out. I wasn't expecting to time this key the first time. Oh yeah, here I pop another Pain Sub because I'm getting caught off guard with no atonement on people, and also didn't pop Shadow Fiend. But this is where I'm at my weakest, basically. I pop a barrier here. We also pop AMC here for some reason. Again, communication. Oh yeah, and the Evoker gets lay on hands because he takes 2 of the debuffs from the little sounds. Oh, and something very stupid happens here. I'm getting the charge, and normally, I have to pause here. Normally, you can survive this with just Pains Up or, well, Pains Up in Fade. But that is very good to know. With a Speed Shield or Feather and Defensive Penance, which stacks, you have enough movement speed to just outrun it. And I've done this frequently. However, the Evoker in Discord tells me he's gonna rescue me out of this. So I'm not using anything, expecting he's gonna do it. Tomoff has 4 million HP, so he was almost dead. And he manages to not do it, and we die both, losing 30 seconds from the timer. Very bad, very bad. I'm also not sure why I got it even. I'm honestly not sure how this baiting works of the charge, or if that's random or just one part of the charge is... Not sure. Maybe I'll give an update on this if I know better. There's another tailoring item you can pick up. The best mob to use it here is, well, this next one, right? It does a... I think he applies this very very bad slow on the tank, and then he spawns those zones that you have to walk out of because otherwise they one-shot. And well, a prop paladin thankfully can just use freedom, or you can also use jet stream from the shaman to get out of it, or you can also grip them. Oh yeah, another thing here. These little flyers here, allegedly, I think that's true. If you stay in melee, they don't jump. Problem is the tank has to kite them, or just in general the group is moving, right? So they don't end up in melee the entire time. So be aware and press your dev CDs well there, so you don't get like one shot from three of them at the same time. I end up not playing this very well. Like my the dev CDs, yeah, but not the staying in melee part because we're like moving a lot. Yeah, and as you can see, like holy, does a lot of damage on an 18. We have really good count though, and we could actually skip this right pack here that is flying right next to us, and it's gonna get pulled. So we have to play an extra pack here with these overseers and the drones. Very bad. And I think normally this is a wipe. This is just way too many mobs. However, we do have Lust ready, and we also happen to have CDs up very soon. So we just pop the Lust here and say, okay, fuck it, we would just play it. And it actually works out. We kill this very quickly, but we don't have Lust for the boss now, and we also don't... Well, we would have used CDs anyway, I think, but we don't have Lust, which is bad. I think you do want to have Lust for this next boss. If you didn't have Lust here or CDs, this would have been very bad. I think we might have wiped them. Okay, so this next boss. I'm gonna pause once we pull. The cast to watch here, or the boss ability rather, is the cultivated poisons. You probably know how it works. I'm not gonna explain it. It's not a like a walkthrough for beginners, right? The thing is, with a prot paladin and an Orc and a shaman, you can remove a lot of these debuffs. So you end up not playing that many, right? I still try to have Mindbender up for each of those. I just treat it like, even though only 3 people might have the debuff, I still treat it like a group AoE situation, which you should. So you want to have Mindbender up for everything, for every debuff, and then try to reset it for every debuff. You have to be very aggressive for that. As you can see, I popped it on pull, even though the poisons are like 10 seconds away. Again, like just using my smite and to reset the cooldown of Mindbender and basically waiting for the poison and then just going into a Radiance, Reprimand, Smite. So you see the Shadow Covenant runs out very early, but I think we just immediately cleansed all the debuffs with Poison Totem, Poison Cleansing, I think. Yeah, fear at the end of the cast so you don't get fucked. And again, like using the Mindbender very early and then waiting for the zones, using Reprimand to walk out of it. Yeah, well, Mind Blast before the Shadow Fiend even, just so I get more CDR more quicker and have the Rift already out. And I'm looking here for a mob to get my thing on. The zone that roots me, right? As you just saw, it's the more you have to move and... Oh, actually, I didn't have a torment myself here. The more you have to move here, the less likely it is that you get Mindbender up here. And I will not... I think I will not get it up here. Yeah, I'm not going to use it. I'm just keeping it. So I'm just telling them, hey, listen, I have no Mindbender here. I will do less healing. So I'm just sitting on it basically. Even pop Rapture here for some assistance, even though I think I end up not really using it. By the way, here I should use Fade every time, but yeah, because I'm out of range from the Prot Paladin, he doesn't dispel me. I should be a little bit closer. At least get Mindbender ready. I have one Raptor Shield that I end up not using. And again, I don't... Yeah, one thing that I have to pay a little bit more attention to is who Irradiance here. Because Irradiance melees, knowing that they are the only two people that get the debuffs. Because I'm getting dispelled and the Evoker dispels himself. But sometimes I'm out of range, so I don't get dispelled immediately, and then I still have the dot on me. So I really do want an atonement on myself when I do the AoE healing. So again, not really well played by me, but thankfully, if you don't have Mindbender up, even just a normal rotation with Mind Blast and using a Death CD will like not cause you to lose any members of your team. Yeah. In my opinion, the hardest part here is not to step into a zone by accident and getting killed by the zones, and then, well, also walking into the zone when you're supposed to, and then getting out of it again. As a dragon, I could also use my 3-minute CD. Here I will also not get my Mindbender up, so I'm just pre-rapturing. Also here, very bad gameplay, honestly. I'm not getting dispelled here, which honestly is the Prot Paladin's fault, because he's supposed to do it, yeah. But, well, I should at least pop Fade here. I'm almost dying. Thankfully I have health pot. I think I'm health potting here. Yeah, I do. We're all a little bit nervous at this point. First key of the day. I'm always playing really bad on the first key. Kind of nervous for some reason. I don't know. Yeah. What should I say? However, we get through it. Yeah. This fight is thankfully not that hard. Like you have time to react. I think the last boss in City of Threats, for example, is much more difficult than this one because you have a lot of lenience, since this is a poison debuff that you just cannot get rid of. We at least time it first try, which is very good because now we can just reroll all the other keys, right? However, we will certainly come back to this dungeon, and I think this will be a dungeon that will be done a lot, since eventually you're gonna move to 19s, Maybe after the patch we'll get the ring or something. And this will be the first key that you do to get a 19. It's not going to be Mist. Mist is low-key kind of hard, timer-wise. And I'm not even sure if it's Dawnbreaker. Dawnbreaker is also not easy. Some teams are really good at doing Necrotic Wake, and they might do this key on 18 instead of Ara-Kara. Or not instead, but like together with Ara-Kara to get a 19. So eventually we will see a better timer than this. This is the worst timer actually that exists on the leaderboard right now. It's quite embarrassing, but I've seen teams do this with 3 minutes left. So there's no question this will be timed on a 19. This might even be timed on a 20. Well, as you saw, not the cleanest kill. I also didn't play very well, honestly. But it was the first key of the day, and we got some points, which is all that counts. Maybe this would be a good moment to call about like anxiety, since I already briefly touched upon it. I have always some anxiety in the first key of the day, which is where I kind of don't mind pushing up a key for the first key that you do. I don't know why. I don't know where it's coming from, but I think this is a fear that stems from not being the one that depletes the key. Because it always feels really bad if you are the reason that depletes the key. Yeah. So you don't want to be that person, right? So you're anxious. Or at least I am. And then sometimes it even becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? I have depleted keys on the last boss before. Not in this dungeon, but on Siege, for example. I've depleted a key on my own. Not with this team, thankfully, but with another team. And yeah, what advice could I give for that? I feel like as long as you feel prepared, it's kind of like raiding. I really like to treat these keys as a very long raid encounter. I think that's the best way to put it. Just think this is a 32-minute raid encounter, and just with a normal raid encounter, you eventually know when to do what and where are the dangerous parts. Like Queen Ansurek, for example, it's 8 minutes now, but it was like 9 or 10 before the nerfs, and you just do it a lot of times, and eventually you know what to do when. And it's similar with these keys, but there's less dangerous moments in keys than compared to like Mythic Ansurek. So you only have to really be focused on certain, like laser focused on certain parts. Yeah, it's fine if you like are not at 110% in the easiest trash pack in the game. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. And with that, I say goodbye.